All right, here we go, people. Number 19.
Wait,
Okay.
I asked for a packet.
Huh?
You asked for a packet.
Well, get one. There you go.
Oh, okay.
All right. Number 19. We got 5x squared plus 20x equals 0. So, solve it.
What's this on? I'm sorry.
Huh?
Like what packet is this on?
The dam. The one that starts with the cube on the front. Number 1 has a graph. Thank you.
Don't you actually on both sides?
Looks like this.
Oh,
Okay? So, what are we going to do?
add 20.
Nope.
Okay.
Take out your x and your 5, right? So what that does is it gives me x squared, right? Plus 4, right? So I get 5x is equal to 0. I get x squared plus 4 is equal to 0. Right? And I got to solve for each of those. So this one, x equals 0, right? But for this one, then x squared is equal to negative 4. There's no answer for that, no real answer, right? Because then you're finding the square root of a negative 4, which means it's basically 2i. So if you want to come up with 2i and 0, that's fine. If you come up with 0, not quite fine. Okay? Alright, now, you could have thrown that in your quadratic formula and solved it. Okay? It would have came up with a negative square root also. So whenever you have that negative on the inside, now you got to take the I out. That's all. So all you're doing is taking the I, remember, negative square root of 4 is just taking that negative 4, pull out the I, you get 4. Pull out the 2, you got 2. You pull out the 2, you got 1. You have your 2's I. That's it. That's all it is. Okay? So that's what happens. With this guy, okay, we're going to move this over. Or we're going to move this over, right? So we get plus 20, plus 20. So x squared equals 280. Okay? Is 280 a perfect square? No. So I got to break it down. 2, 140. 2, 70. 2, 35. 5, 7. 7, 1. And I'm good, right? Now I pull out my pairs. I got a pair of 2's. That's it. So it's 2 square root 70. That's what x equals. Right? Because it's really 2 square root 2 times 5 times 7. But, because none of those are pairs, it's 70. Ta-da! Right? So there's your new square root. Pull out your pair. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
No?
No.
Why?
I'm confused why it was 70.
What's 7 times 5 times 2? 70.
Oh.
Because that's what we broke it down, right? We took out the 2, we took out the 5. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you could climb the ladder just as easily as you can take the ladder down, climb down the ladder.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can use this ladder to climb up just as easily as you climb it down. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Good questions then. Okay? Other questions? Because I'm sure anyone watching right now is asking the same question. Okay?
Yeah, why 70?
Why 70? Right? Now remember, we have a pair of 2, so you know where we got the 2 from, right? The 70 was, we have a square root of 2 times 5 times 7. Because those don't have any pairs. So you just got to multiply those. So again, 7 times 5 times 2, 70, right? I told you someone had the same question. Right? Alright. That's it. Alright, now 21. 21, we're going to use the quadratic formula. Basically because, well, it's probably not factorable. Right? I mean, we could divide by 1, or negative 1, then that would be a minus plus. So we'd ask ourselves, what multiplies to be 8 and adds to be 2? Well, nothing. So it's not factorable.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing here, right? It multiplies to be 6 times 9, right? But we could take out the 3, and that'd be 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, right? So what multiplies to be 3, but it adds to be 1? Nothing, right? So we can't factor those. But what we can do is use the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay?
Yeah.
Whereas you have a, b, and c. A is negative 1, b is positive 2, and c is negative 8. Okay? And so when I write this, I go negative b. You see how I did that? Negative, and the b is in the parentheses. B is 2. Plus or minus the square root of b squared. Well, what's b? Oh, it's 2. Minus 4a. A is negative 1. C. What's c? Negative 8. All over 2a. What's a? Negative 1. Okay? And then I do my work. Negative 2. Plus or minus the square root of, well, that's 4, right? And then that's minus, minus, minus makes a minus. Because 3 minuses make a minus. 2 minuses make a plus. 1 minus makes a minus. Does that all make sense? Coming back to you a little bit? Maybe not. Going fast? Okay. So, then 4 times 1 times 8. Well, what's 4 times 8? 32. Say less. Okay? Alright, then you do what's 2 times negative 1? Negative 1. So we have a minus. That tells me it's going to have an I. Right? Because that minus is bigger than the plus. Right? So I'm going to have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 28 over negative 1. And watch this. These cancel each other out. It also makes these flip, but who cares? A plus minus is the same as a minus plus, right? So now we don't have to worry about those minuses. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
2 times negative 1, negative
2
2.
times negative 1 is negative 2. Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. That should be a 2. And that should be a 2. Because that's crazy talk, thinking that that's 1. Right? Thank you for helping me get that right the first time. I mean the second time, but the first time. The first time on film, right? But now we got to bust this out. Got to bust out that 28. So what goes into negative 28? Well, I. 28 times, right? So we take that negative out for the I. And then we take out a 2, and that's 14. Take out a 2, and that's 7. Take out a 7, that's 1. What am I circling up? We have a 2, and the I always comes out, right? Anything else leaves inside. So I got 2 plus or minus 2I square root 7 all over 2. Well, it goes into 2, 2, and 2.
2.
How about 2? There you go. So that takes this 2, and this 2 out, so we get 1 plus or minus 1I. Well, we can just put that as an I. Right? Square root 7. Because it doesn't matter. It can't touch what's inside. What's outside. Okay? And then that turns into a 1. Well, then I don't care about it no more. It's on the bottom.